Welcome in 07 citizens, Black here from CasaBLACK Gaming, and today I'm back with an all-new review for a pair of new ships that were released during Invictus last month, which is the Fury and Fury MX. Since these ships only differ by a little bit, I thought I would just take care of them both at the same time and offer up my advice on both, so anyone looking to choose either or will be armed with the information they need to make some big decisions. Now, as usual, if you like this review, then please check out my channel for more reviews and loadout videos, along with my helpful to-the-point guides for new and old players alike. And also, if you've been to my channel more than once now, if you could like, subscribe, and comment on the videos, it really helps. We are definitely on track to hit my subscription goal of 10,000, so join in and help me reach that goal. Alright, so with the channel maintenance out of the way, let's go ahead and get right into this honest review. So first, here on the screen are the stats for the Fury, which is labeled as a single-seat snub fighter. There are two versions, the normal Fury, which yields guns and missiles, and then the Fury MX, which is just loaded with a bunch of missiles. Let's show the exact weapons for the normal Fury first. The Fury comes with 4 size 2 pilot-controlled hardpoints. These guns can be swapped for a different type. They come with laser repeaters by default, but some might want something else such as laser cannons or ballistics to pack more punch. I do have a loadout for these, so be sure to check out my channel for those, and I'll try to link it at the end. The Fury also comes with 4 size 2 missile racks that cannot be swapped for a different rack setup, and each missile rack has one single size 2 missile. Those missiles can be swapped from the infrared missiles that come stock to something more to your preference, like the electromagnetics. Now, the Fury MX has no guns mounted, but instead comes at you with all of the missiles. There are 4 size 3 missile racks that each support 2 size 2 missiles. Then there are 4 size 2 missile racks that hold 1 size 2 missile each. And then lastly, there are 4 size 2 missile racks that each hold 2 size 1 missiles, making that a total of 12 missile racks that all together hold 20 missiles. The ship dimensions are 7 meters in length, 2.6 meters across its beam and width, and then 5.4 meters in height, making it the smallest flight-capable ship in the game, I believe. The crew size is 1. The maneuvering combat speed is 220 meters per second. The overall max speed is 1,250 meters per second, with it taking only 7.12 seconds to go from 0 to max speed. There is no typical cargo space, but there is a compartment to hold some gear. The normal Fury ship claim time at the ASOP terminal is currently, as of 3.19.1, set at 1 minute 53 seconds, which can of course be brought down to 37 seconds for around 1,400 credits, if you cannot wait. And the MX version comes down to 1 minute 53 to 37 seconds, but for almost 2,300 credits, making that the only difference here on this page between the two ships. The ship components are 1 size 1 shield, 2 size 1 coolers, 1 size 1 power plant, and there is not a quantum drive. There are 16 thrusters for stabilization and maneuverability, making this one of the most fun ships you can fly and maneuver, and it's also zippy. So for many ships, this is a real concern for some of the ship owners and can determine if they in fact use a ship daily or decide to go with something different that they find more convenient to get in and out of, and so I include the time it takes to enter a ship for those owners who want to weigh that into their decision. Now with this ship, this is not a concern as it only takes roughly 10 seconds to enter the seat, which is mostly just waiting for the animation of the glass to open to play out. The Furies have no interior space to speak of, as they are basically just a cockpit on boosters strapped with weaponry. The Fury is released with 4 colors, one of which was a limited special concierge members only paint that was a military green called the Leatherback. The other 3 colors are the Templar, which is a white color, the Tengu, which is a bright red, and then the Wasteland, which is more of an olive green camouflage color. I like all of these colors for this ship, even the default flat black looking color that comes stock on every one of these. The Furies are short-range snub fighters meant to be carried to their destination and released, with the more the merrier. As of 3.19.1, there is no official carrier ship, but players have been creatively finding ways to put them on already established ships and seeing how many they can possibly fit. Now, for a full reference video on how many fit on what ship, check out Subliminal's Can It Fit video. It's pretty entertaining. I have fit 2 on my CasaBLACK. Now, the coolest thing that has come about, though, is players kind of making the Misk Starfarer refueling ship into a makeshift carrier for these Furies. It's a perfect fit for a few reasons. First, by removing the Starfarer's large fuel pods, it opens up room to be able to hang up to 6 or possibly more Furies on the rails, and the Furies sort of just snap into place, allowing them to be transported even through quantum jumps. Second, since these rails are external, it allows the Furies to hang like bats, and once in position, they can quickly and easily just drop down and go fight their targets. Now, while some ships can hold more Furies, the external drop down just makes loading and unloading a lot faster, and it's just really cool to do. Not to mention the Starfarer is from Misk, which is where the Mirai brand has come from as a sub-brand, so they kind of just go hand in hand. The Furies do come in 2 flavors currently, the standard Fury as noted before, which is the gun and missile variant, or you can just go all in on the 20 missile MX variant. Now, if we ever get a carrier that can also reload missiles, the MX could go out, fire its entire payload, come back, get refitted with more missiles, and just go back out to dish out destruction. Now, other than fighting, these could also be used as some short-range reconnaissance scouting, as they are really fast and should be quiet on scanners compared to some ships, especially as that gameplay becomes more a thing in the future. Just be on notice that the Furies do not have a quantum drive and also a small fuel tank, so you cannot use these ships to get around the verse on their own for very long. Oh, and one last thing these ships could be used for are racing the tracks, something I did a little for this video and I actually quite enjoyed. So here is the newest section of my reviews, which I think is very good to know, and that is a comparison between the Furies and its closest ships by comparison. And for this, I am also going to discuss why you would want either Fury over the other if you're trying to decide between the two. So most of the players I've seen using this go for the regular Fury, and in fact my org had an event where you could only choose the normal Furies instead of the missile variant. Now, most players would rather have the option to use guns or not, so if you want that option, the only choice is the normal Fury. However, I own both variants, and I'm okay with just going out with a group of others and just firing my missiles and then heading back in or down to restock. My advice here is, if you only plan to fly this solo, go with the normal Fury. Now, as far as other snub ships, there is the P-52 Merlin and its luxurious counterpart, the P-72 Archimedes. Out of these ships, the Merlin is the one I have used the most since it's the combat reconnaissance version. Now, the Merlin definitely gives you that fast, great handling feel, similar to the Fury, but it does feel more boxed in instead of having that marvelous open glass feel that the Fury has. But again though, this is going to come down to what other ship you're flying, because with the Constellation class ships, this makes more sense to have the Merlin. But the Fury fits into a lot more ships, so that will be the deciding factor here for most people that are comparing these ships. The Fury comes already well rounded. You can swap out the shields, but none of the other components really need to be changed. Of course, when it comes to weapons, you are free to change out the types of guns or missiles, but you cannot change out the components to possibly add more or less in terms of sizes, as you can with some ships, where you can swap missile racks or gimbals that make a difference. The Furies are pretty bespoke in order to make everything fit on that tiny package, so your options are limited, but it's still a fun ship to tinker with in terms of different weapon types to try out, and definitely not much in credits to do so. Okay, so the first part of this video has been mostly facts, so now we come to the part where it's more subjective, and I do try not to push my opinion too much on you, but I will give my take coming from a reasonable place, trying to avoid hyping things just for the sake of hype, which is especially important for a new ship like this. Now, I'm not a fan of alien tech ships. Now, some do look cool, and I do appreciate seeing them around the verse to add variety. They're just not normally my cup of tea in terms of looks. I guess I'm sort of old-fashioned in that way and prefer a beater versus something that looks alien. but I think the Furies are a cool design and minimalism at its finest. Those rotating thrusters are very cool from a flying tech standpoint, and the vehicle team did a great job on making those thrusters move about as you fly and turn. I also want to mention the blast screen on the MX. It's also very well done, and overall, even though there is not much to go on in terms of an actual ship to look at because it's just so compact, it's a work of art, and the fact that the ship component doors all work is just a major achievement in ship design, and this ship is actually just very nice looking. Okay, so how do the Furies handle? They are very fun. One of the most fun ships you can fly just to fly. I wish they had a bigger tank just so you could fly for like 30 minutes without worrying about running out of fuel. Now, I'm not great at low flying, and yet I want to even try to get out there and do some. Now, if you lose any of the pieces of the structure after it's being hit, then there is no handling at that point, so just don't get hit, and it's a great fly. Alright, so with a new ship, there have been quite a few mentions of issues with the Fury, which is understandable since it was a surprise, straight-to-flyable ship with no testing. Now, I'm not going to list every issue here, but some of the more serious-looking ones that seem to have popped up. There's an issue where those who store them on Constellation-class ships lose the ability to claim either ship, which is a pretty serious issue. Some players have reported being unstowed and not able to log back into the game. Another issue, which is still open and not showing fixed yet, is the ship showing the wrong size guns, as in size 4s in the description instead of the size 2 guns that it actually has. Now, if you've had other issues that were game breaking, including any possible fixes you found as well, please go ahead and post those down in the comments below. Alright, so this is the category that can mean different things to different people, and so the best I can do is just offer up my own opinion on why I think it either is or is not worth the real money price or grind in-game, and I do definitely try to keep in mind that so many of you truly watch what you spend, and so I like to find reasons to justify something's worth, especially in comparison to similarly priced ships that might be close in the same category. So the Furies upon release were in the $50 to $55 range depending on if you did the standalone or the war bond. Now, they also come in multi-packs. I bought one that had both for $95, and then there was a 4-pack that went for $185, and then also a 12-pack for $560. Of course, people were asking, why would someone buy a 4-pack or a 12-pack? And that has since made sense to me when we have an org event, because those who had multi-packs were able to call out and have more ready, claimed, and lined up for the members who did not have one or who had just lost theirs. The Furies are not yet available to purchase in-game, but once they are, I imagine that those who own them will probably just grab them with in-game credits at that point and not actually own them anymore. I might be wrong here, but since their uses are very specific, unless we see a great carrier ship come along pretty soon, I do not imagine anyone would keep this in their owned list for something that's more specific than other ships, and to me this will probably fall into that ground vehicle category where it's just cheaper just to buy them with credits. Alright, so here we are at how I think the ship could be improved, or things I would love to see changed if I could come in and just wave a magic wand and have all the ship folks do my bidding. So I have 2 variants I would not mind seeing. Well, actually 3. My first, though, is to strap 1 or 2 torpedoes on it, or maybe even 1 on each corner as a quick get in and out larger ship killer. Seems kind of fun, but very situational. Now, my other thought, though, is to give it a slightly larger fuel tank and scanner so it can go out and do short to mid-range reconnaissance, but also to act as a mining or salvaging scout to pair nicely with a prospector or a mole. The mole especially could use something that can scout around for minables since it's a hydrogen fuel guzzler. Now, my third thought was a prospector companion to add some stability to mining using some sort of 4-way laser off each wingtip that allows you to attach a mining module to each one of those to further expand the prospector's options. Now, the little lasers themselves wouldn't be of much use in terms of power added or being able to break a rock, but the debuffs or buffs they could add could allow for a prospector to be able to mine larger rocks. Maybe not as high as a 3-person mole, but better than just a solo prospector. Even cooler would be to have a slightly larger MISC mining vehicle that the mining Fury could clamp to, allowing it to be carried along during quantum. The Fury is a ship that just screams possibility, so let me know what ideas you have for variants down below. Alright, and that's going to do it for this ship review of the Mirai Furies. Overall, the Furies add something awesome to the verse that can really impact multiplayer gameplay now, but if and when we get a full-blown carrier ship that's just for these, that will allow quick access, departure, and restocking and refueling, that will just really make these insanely awesome and fun. With just a little bit I've done with the org using Starfarers as carriers, it's been really cool and makes you thirst for more. Now I want to hear your thoughts though. Did you pick up 1, 2, 4, or 12? How do you like them? Are you going to keep yours, or will you be buying the in-game onlys after they are released? Anyway, remember to be kind to your fellow gamer, fly in single file to hide your numbers, and stay positive citizens.